Well, hey, y'all. We are going to be in John chapter 5 today, starting in verse 46, going through verse 53. But let me tell you a quick story first. When I was a freshman in college, I had this older friend who invited a group of freshmen to go on an adventure with him. So we foolishly got in the car with him one night, and he drove us to this bridge that went over a river. And he walked us all to the edge of the bridge, and we're looking down at the water, but we can't see the water. We can't see how far it is. And he says, "You just got to believe me. If you jump, you'll be fine." And we're all going to jump together. In that moment, we had a choice to make. Are we going to believe this man and take his word that if we jump, we'll be fine? Or are we not going to? In a sense, the choice that we had to make was, are we going to put our lives in his hands? Jesus is going to talk about that deep kind of life or death belief with the man in our passage. So let me read it and then we'll talk about it just for a minute. John 5, verse 46 through verse 53. So he, that is Jesus, came again to Cana in Galilee, where he had made the water wine. And at Capernaum there was an official whose son was ill. When this man heard that Jesus had come from Judea to Galilee, he went to him and asked him to come down and heal his son, for he was at the point of death. So Jesus said to him, "Unless you see signs and wonders, you will not believe." The official said to him, "Sir, come down before my child dies." Jesus said to him, "Go, your son will live." The man believed the word that Jesus spoke to him and went on his way. As he was going down, his servants met him and told him that his son was recovering. So he asked them the hour when he began to get better. And they said to him, "Yesterday at the 7th hour, the fever left him." The father knew that was the hour when Jesus had said to him, "Your son will live." And he himself believed, and all his household. See, this man comes to Jesus and he believes that Jesus can heal his son, so he asks Jesus to heal his son. And it's worth noting that to this point in the Gospel of John, the only miracle that Jesus has done is turning water into wine. He's never healed anybody. So in a sense, this man believes more about Jesus than he's seen or heard. So he believes that Jesus can heal his son. And yet Jesus says to him, "Unless you see signs and wonders, you won't believe." This guy must have thought, well, I do believe. That's why I'm asking you to heal my son. I believe that you can heal my son. But Jesus is calling him to a deeper belief, a different belief, something greater than just belief that Jesus can heal his son. The belief that Jesus is calling him to is not the belief that Jesus can do a miracle, but the belief that Jesus talks about in John chapter 3. Remember, Jesus had that interaction with Nicodemus where he says, "You must be born again." And then after that, it says, "Whosoever believes in Jesus will not perish, but will have eternal life." See, it's that belief that Jesus can bring hope that goes into forever, not just in this life, but beyond the grave. That's the belief that Jesus is calling this man into. So Jesus says, "Go, your son will live." And this man starts walking home, and he gets word as he's on his journey that his son is recovering. I wonder if it ever dawned on this man while he was walking, even if Jesus heals my son, he will die one day. Maybe Jesus is talking about a hope that goes beyond the grave. Maybe that's the belief that Jesus is calling me to. The Westminster Shorter Catechism, which some of you probably memorized when you were little, describes faith as a saving grace where we receive and rest upon Jesus for salvation. Resting upon Jesus, the idea there is that real faith is banking on Jesus, not just acknowledging even who he is or the things that he can do, but banking on him, banking on his life, his death, and his resurrection as our hope for this life and for eternity, forever. That's the kind of faith that Jesus is calling this man into. And the good news for you and for me is that whoever believes in Jesus, whoever banks on Jesus in this way, will not perish, whether today or in 50 years, if they die, they will not perish, but they'll have eternal life, life that goes beyond the grave. That's the kind of belief that Jesus calls this man into and that he calls us into. And that's good news. See y'all.
I should probably mention we jumped off the bridge and we were fine.